All right, we're going to get started here. So welcome back into another edition of Cash and Tickets brought to you by Poolside Bets. That'd be me, Franklin Johnson, and my esteemed partner, Paul Robertson, sitting next to me here. We're going to just filibuster for a little bit while Paul's having trouble with his email. So, so welcome back in. We're going to wrap up our conference previews. We've now hit week 0 college football. We actually have real football that counts this coming Saturday. So we're going to do the conference previews. and then maybe talk about this weekend. Maybe talk about a few games. We'll see how it goes. How long we're on here. Anything from the weekend break, Paul, that caught your attention? Your mic's not on. We're gonna get Paul turned on this time. There he is. Welcome to the show, Paul.
Hey, well, it's been a long afternoon, boys. There we go. It came up. Look, everything started working at the same time.
Yeah, same time. There we go. Now we're
right.
back in there.
Yeah, I don't know if you watch golf or whatever. That last 9 holes of that tournament yesterday had all the implications for the East Lake, the last tournament of the year.
Yeah, before the tour championship.
You had all the heavy hitters out there getting it done. So it's fun to watch all those guys fall apart in the 17th, 18th hole, with a chance to go to the last match of the year to win the crown for the year and just fall absolutely apart. Tyler Hatton had a meltdown, and he was still in it.
Of course he did. When does he not have a meltdown?
Anyway.
How about Victor Hovland going out there and just destroying that golf course? Put on a show on the back nine to take down Scotty Scheffler and Matt Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, I was very proud of him. He made us a little money yesterday. Also from the UFC fight the other night.
Oh yeah, big performance by Sean O'Malley.
Yeah, O'Malley, Sugar Sean. I kept calling him Shane, but
I think I did too. What was the boxer's name? I think that's what it was. It was a Sugar Shane
Mosley.
Yeah, that was a boxer. So get a little confusing there. That fight before that was really good though. Wei Lee
that's a bad woman.
I don't think I've ever seen a strike comparison that was 288 to 21, 282. That's a beat down. She had to be sore the next day.
All right.
So that's a wrap up from the weekend. We had a little fantasy draft. That was fun.
Some pictures are slowly creeping out of that.
Yeah, some details are starting to come out now that it's Monday.
No.
All right, so where you want to go first? I think we're going to start with the Pac-12. Get back in. Oh, I tell you what, I forgot all about it. I had my first real debut this past Friday with the Friday Night Lights.
Nope.
Called the live stream there for the Lee Academy Colts with my man Bobby Spinks. The Colts went over and played the Pillow Mustangs out of Greenwood, Mississippi. Now, Pillow is a 5A team, and Lee Academy is a 4A, so there's a little step up in competition there. I mean, you could kind of see it on the field, but boy, the Colts played their hearts out. They dropped that one 24-21. It was a close game all through the night. Lee actually had a couple of leads, but, when you're playing a step up like that, depth is going to get you. And there was just some tired legs there in the fourth quarter, a couple of tackles that they couldn't make. But I will say I will give out my game ball. That was definitely it, and it was an easy one. DB for the Colts, Darren Williams, had himself one hell of a game. He had 2 interceptions, one that he almost took to the house. Then he forced a fumble late in the second half that set Lee Academy up. And then Tanner Fava goes out and has a huge fourth quarter, including a touchdown. He was big. It was good to see him back. He's coming off an injury. So the Colts were great. They're in great position for their division. So that was a lot of fun. I'm not going to be on the call this Friday night because I'll be down in Biloxi. Get that little trip out of the way, and then we'll be ready and raring to go for the rest of the college football and
I hear they got casinos down there.
They do have a couple. I'm actually staying in one. So yeah,
they ought to know better.
People don't think when they set me up like that.
Yeah, I saw that Tanner Favor touchdown late in the fourth quarter. He made a great move. Got open he had like 4 guys around him. Still called it.
Yeah, they were trying to bracket him and still score.
I don't know what kind of that was the Olay defense, but it was a great run by him. Catch and run.
Yeah.
All right, Pac-12. You want to go over the odds, or you got anything else you want to talk about?
You can hit the top few teams there. I don't see one on the screen that I'm very interested in, but
what about the one on the bottom, or the 2 on the bottom?
I don't think we even need to mention their names, but yeah, let's get started with the Pac-12. Give us some odds of who's going to win that league.
All right, USC is plus 190, which is almost 2-1. Oregon's plus 315, which is a little over 3-1. Washington's plus 327, which is also a little over, about $3.25 to 1. Utah's plus 550, which is 5.5 to 1. Oregon State's 11 to 1, and then UCLA is 13.5 to 1. I'm not going to go any further than that.
It probably no sense. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, there's my surprise teams down there, but hey, I'm throwing a dart.
Yeah. So look, here's what's crazy about the Pac-12. Just as the thing is falling apart, and now there's only officially 4 teams left in the conference going into next season. It's one of the more fun conferences out there this year. I think they got 5 teams ranked in the top 25. There's several teams that I'm interested in, and so it's kind of sad to see that here in a year where they've got a lot of intrigue, a lot of things going on in the Pac-12, they're completely falling apart. Not sure how they couldn't keep that thing alive, but
Yeah, the one thing that I always think about when I think about Pac-12, I think about Pac-12 after dark, and then the offense. It's always high scoring, but this year there's a couple of these teams that can shut you down.
yeah.
So, you got Oregon, Washington, UCLA ain't gonna stop nobody. Yeah, there's a couple teams out there that can play good defense. So, Utah, Washington, and Oregon, yeah, all 3 of those schools can play with anybody. So,
That's for sure. All right, well, let's get into a few of them. One that they're ranked number 15 in the country, but I'm not so sure the Ducks are going to be able to make a whole lot of noise. They're not. I mean, they're a good team. Obviously, don't get me wrong. You still got Bo Nix. I like what Dan Lanning has done there. Bo Nix is in what, his 22nd college season as a quarterback.
it's a lot.
They got a lot of talent coming back, including their running back Bucky Irvin. The OC is gone though, so we'll see what happens there. If the offense will still be electric. Defense was a little better than it was in 21, but I'm not completely sold on Tosh Lupoy. I think he left Alabama, went out to Oregon. I think maybe he was at Alabama at some point. I don't know, but that he ever ran the defense. I think this is his first time to be the defensive coordinator. But I think Oregon's going to be decent. I just don't know I don't know if they'll stay at number 15.
He did a good job last year because they went out there and got the hell beat out of them by Georgia first game of the year, which we kind of saw coming. Now they get Texas Tech early. So that's going to be a good test. Texas is a good football team.
Well, that was my surprise in the Big 12. So I'm sure they'll lose by 50 to Oregon in game 1.
Yeah. So we'll see what they got early. I don't think Bo Nix is going to be the Heisman candidate guy. I mean, they're giving him the Hoey Heisman stuff up there in New York, but I don't think that's going to be it.
Yeah.
Last year they were number 1 in sacks allowed, which is not good. The offense will be fine. Dan Lanning's supposed to be the defensive guy, but he's under Kirby Smart at Georgia, so we really don't know what he is.
Yeah.
So we're about to find out. I mean, he was okay last year, but eventually talent wears out, and you got to replace it and coach it, and so we'll see what happens there. My team that I think is going to be disappointing this year, not that they're not going to be good, they're just not going to be what everybody says they are, is USC. They bring in Cliff Kingsbury to help out with the offense and do all this stuff with Caleb Williams and all that, but that's not where they need help.
No, they don't need any help on the offensive side of football.
They were 106th in total defense last year. I don't care. I mean, what do you? I don't care how fast you go. I mean, you still got to stop the other car from passing you.
Well, that's true.
So, I mean, I didn't have many notes on this. I mean, I know they got talent throughout the roster, but that defense is awful. And if they run up a team that can just hold them to a couple field goals, and then Caleb Williams gets shut down early because he's a high draft pick, or whatever. I don't think they're going to be in the Final Four or none of that playoffs or none of that stuff. So.
And that would make it disappointing. So I see why you went there.
Yeah.
Not that you think they won't win a bunch of games, just they're not going to get where they think they should be.
They may go 9-3 or 8-4, which is a great year for most teams. But with the way this roster's loaded and the pieces they have in place, anything short of the playoff for me is not a good year.
Okay, I'm right there with you. The disappointing team I had, I'll stick with another. I got UCLA.
You killing me.
DTR is gone, and so there's no surefire QB on the horizon there. And will it be a transfer? That's this Kent State transfer and Colin Schlee or Ethan Garbers that came from Washington? Or they go with the prize freshman, the kid named Dante Moore.
That's the guy.
Yeah, I think they've got talent at running back, but I'm just a little leery on the Bruins this year because they couldn't get it done with DTR the last 2 years, and I just don't know what they got there to make any kind of noise in the. And I think they take a step back this year from what they were last year.
We'll find out real quick. They open against Coastal Carolina.
Good team there.
Dante Moore is one of those deals where I'm not gonna act like I know recruiting in high school out in California and all that, but all the talking heads say the guy's like legit, real deal.
Yeah, I've heard plenty. Just you got to see it on the field.
Gonna step up and just take off with it. So we'll see. I don't know. I don't have them as part of. They were my surprise team last year. But I don't have them as part of nothing I got going this year. So
yeah,
I'm not mad at you. I don't know.
One other team I was going to mention that I don't have them doing. I mean, but you can't. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the defending Pac-12 champs and the Utah Utes. I just don't know how healthy Cam Rising's going to be. I mean, he's coming back, but he got hurt in the bowl game, so I don't know how quickly he's going to be healthy. I like him against Florida because I think Florida's bad. And they get Florida at home, which will be a good start to the season, I guess, for them. But they go to Oregon State, to USC, and to Washington. That is a brutal schedule for them this year. So, I mean, the Utes will be good. I just don't think they can repeat as champions.
Yeah. I got a little bit on Cam Rising's back. I mean,
that's really the biggest thing, right? If he's healthy, they're going to be decent, but
Florida, Baylor back-to-back to open the season. Yeah, it's not. I mean, Florida's that team that you look at it and it doesn't look. Something's off.
Something's off. So it doesn't yeah.
Then next thing you know, here they go. So
it could be.
I don't know. I'm just. I don't know. Let's see. My surprise team this year. I'm gonna go with the Arizona Wildcats. They bring in Brendan Carroll, who's the son of Pete Carroll, as OC.
Okay.
They were 20th in total offense last year, which I think he was there last year. So the offense can roll. They were 125th in total defense last year, which is I'm literally spitting the same shit I spit about USC.
USC, yeah.
I mean, but Arizona is not USC. The talent
they
level,
don't.
all that stuff. If Arizona goes 7-6 this year, then that's a good year.
Well, yeah, that would be a surprise because they have not been great as of late.
Yeah, the total defense, the defense, they got to figure something out on that side of the ball. I had some notes on them earlier, but yeah, my work week's been hectic. So
I think you've got a team that I don't have in here, but I think is really good, and I think should be. He may get a invite to the Heisman ceremony. Michael Penix Jr. out at Washington is incredible. And the kid went out there and had one hell of a season last year. And he's get top 5 receiving options are also back this year. I mean, that's huge. The offense should be great. I don't know what the defense is going to be able to do. They got some improvement to make, but hey, maybe they do. Maybe they can be able to stop the run. If they can stop the run better this year, they'll be in much better shape. And then they got a running back transfer, I believe, from Mississippi State. Right here out of Mississippi, not too far from here.
Yeah, Dylan Johnson. That's what I got. I got Michael. Good Lord.
What? Did I say everything?
No, it's fine. Look,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. Michael Penix Jr. comes back, a Heisman candidate, in my opinion. Dylan Johnson comes in to help the running game out, which, once again, is not where they need to help. Let's see. They only got 7 sacks for 54 yards last year on defense. They got to get some kind of pressure on that side of the football. If they can do that, the secondary was a liability late in games because if you're going out there and Michael Penix and them are rolling, they're getting you in a track meet, and the other team's trying to throw the ball too, you can't have a liability on the back end because I don't care how good Michael Penix is.
Yeah.
So maybe that's where Dylan Johnson comes in and helps them control the clock a little bit better. I don't know. We'll see what happens there.
Well, and games will be quicker this year because of the new clock rules. So you're not going to get as many plays. It's going to help teams on defense this year, but you better be able to get the other team off the field.
So that's my champion of the conference this year. I got the Washington Huskies winning the Pac-12 4-2. Might be the Nabisco one. I don't know what they're going to be called after this year, but anyways, yeah. So Arizona's my surprise team. USC, I don't think they care, man. They got all the sun and the beaches and all the good stuff, and they got Kingsbury out there. He's just walking around with his sunglasses on. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna be worth. They'll be 8-4 probably, and then I got Washington winning the Pac-12.
Well, I got one team that's in two categories. I got them as the surprise team, and I've changed my mind 100 times about the champs. So now they are also going to be the champs.
Okay.
Um, I didn't have time to make a change. I just decided I wanted them to be the champion, so that's what I did.
I like it.
So yeah, I'm going to go with Jonathan Smith, head coach, Oregon State Beavers. I love what he's got going on there. They had a great year last year. Kind of came out of nowhere there, had a big season. They got 10 wins with their worst offense in years. And I know you're not a fan, and I'm not a fan either. We'll see what happens with, DJ. I'm not even going to try to say his last name.
Ukulele.
Ukulele comes over from Clemson, goes out to the Beavers. So, I mean, can he get revived? Maybe a change of scenery. Maybe we're looking at a Spencer Rattler type deal when Rattler leaves Oklahoma, has a big year at South Carolina.
He may be the best handoffer in the country next year.
Well, hey, if you can run the ball, why do you have to throw it?
Yeah.
So they don't need great QB because the run game is solid, Paul. You took the words right. So look, if they, I think they're going to have a shot here, basically because their schedule. They miss USC, they get Utah, UCLA, and Washington at home. So here's the way the schedule sets up. If they can beat Utah, which that's a home game, they could be 10-0 with Washington coming to town on Saturday, November the 18th.
You gonna lay them at 11-1? Go get you some $25.
Hey, look, I'm sure their over unders like 8. So I definitely Let's see, I got it. Yeah, 8.5.
Yeah.
So if they're going to be conference champs, I think 9 to 10 wins is easy.
Yeah.
But if they get past Utah, I mean, they get Washington State's at home. They go to Utah. No. I'm talking they were at Washington State. They get Utah at home. At Cal, but who cares? They get UCLA at home. They're at Arizona, but I think they can handle them. At Colorado, but God knows what's going to Deion's got going on there. Stanford, nothing. They get Washington at home. If they beat Washington, I think they easily win this thing, and then they'll go to Oregon. But I think by that time they could have the conference wrapped up.
Yeah, that Oregon State game, it's kind of like it's like the Egg Bowl. It don't matter what the records are.
Yeah, so I mean that'd be good. But again, the way they have to do it, they've got to beat Utah when Utah comes to town, and then be undefeated when the Huskies come to town. I mean, I get it; it's a tall task, but the defense is really good. They've got a great running game, so if they can slow that game down with new clock rules, I think they got a great chance. If they get anything out of DJ, I think they have a chance to go win it this year.
I don't hate it.
Which doesn't sound right for a Pac-12 team. Stop the run the ball, play defense. That doesn't sound right. But hey, it works in other places.
In that conference, if you hold a team to a field goal, you've won. I mean, they just all over the place with it. So yeah, I don't hate it. I don't know. I don't know. Pac-12, it's always like the end of the day, and you're just like, man.
Or if you're chasing that money.
Yeah, you're chasing, and and then you just, it's just like it's just a bad breakup. It's just throw that day away and start over the next day.
Yeah, but I mean, credit to that conference. At least there'll be some good games to watch late at night.
Yeah.
Like I said, they got 5 ranked teams, but they're all not going to end up that way because they got to all play each other. But I just like the way their schedule sets up. I'll be interested. I'll be watching Colorado just for the sheer drama of it all to see what Sanders and his kid can do. Of course, they got the what's the DB, Travis Hunter, but you got to have more than 2 players to win college football games.
I don't know what scheme they're gonna run on defense. I just hope it could get embarrassing on that side of the football.
Yeah, I'm worried about it being embarrassing for him. I mean, I hope he does a good job. I mean, it seems like he's got all the pizzazz that you want. So we'll see what happens. I'm not rooting against him.
No,
I just want to see what
no,
happens.
not that he can't get it done, but I mean, hell, if he goes out there and wins 4 games, it's better. It's better. It's a step in the right direction
for sure.
I think they sold out their season tickets allotment. They sold out the preseason.
Well,
game or whatever it
you're
is,
Colorado, that's why you go hire him,
spring game,
because that program was in the tank. So you had to make some kind of splash, and they did with the hire. So props to them for pulling the trigger on prime time.
And I get why a lot of folks are pulling for prime. Because if you hear him speak, he's passionate about what he's talking about. He's a great motivator. He was a great athlete. That rivalry him and Jerry Rice had was crazy.
Yeah, and then they end up winning a Super Bowl together in '95. So, and you nailed it. He just an athlete, because the kid could play baseball too. He's really good. I can remember the Bo Jackson versus Deion Sanders game.
Yeah,
when they were both still playing.
The only athlete I think that ever played in a NFL game and a Major League Baseball game, which had to be a playoff game.
The same day. Yeah,
same day.
In the game against Bo Jackson hits one 852 feet. He may have hit 3 home runs that day, which I think he did. But primetime couldn't be showed up too much. He got a inside the park home run that day. So what a showdown between two incredible athletes there. So yeah, pulling for him. We'll see what happens. And then of course they'll go to the Big 12 next year.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything else you got to say about the Pac-12, Pac-4, whatever they are, however many they got left?
You got more out of me than I thought you were, even though my mic started off not on.
I think you're doing great. We're in a good position here. So let's move to the Big 10. A lot of 11 o'clock games was fun. You get kicked off with some maybe low-scoring games. You can kind of take a nap between second and third quarter and wake up, and the score's still the same. Yeah, still 0-0 between Iowa and Northwestern.
Yeah, Rutgers in Nebraska. 10-7 late in the fourth quarter, all the drama.
Yeah. So, all right, I'm just going to throw it out there. This is obviously just a 3-team race. I have no thoughts that anybody other than Michigan, Ohio State, or Penn State can win this league.
Yeah, I can go over the odds if you'd like. Just to be clear on this, these are consensus odds. I mean, you may find a better number at your book, but this is across the board kind of what you're seeing. Ohio State plus 167, which is less than 2-1. Michigan is plus 177, which is same, less than 2-1. Penn State's a little over 5.5-1. Wisconsin's a little over 8-1. Iowa 12-1. I'll throw Illinois in there at 30-1 because I like that team. Michigan State, what happened to that team? They're 120-1.
Yeah, that thing fell apart last year.
And how do you have worse odds than Northwestern?
Who has worst odds?
Rutgers and Indiana.
Oh, come on.
No, I am not buying that
come
on. At all.
Northwestern is going to be the worst team in college football this year.
Yeah, they don't have a lot going. When you're asking Ed Orgeron to come help out, things have gone bad, buddy.
They've gone south for sure.
Ain't good.
And I would, I know you can say, well, I could get Penn State at 5-1. Look, they got to go to Ohio State, and they get Michigan at home. They're in the same division. I can't see them getting it. I mean, maybe they shock the world. I just don't see how the Nittany Lions get it done.
They got that quarterback Drew Aller, I think. He's supposed to be the 5-star. He's kind of like the opposite of the guy at UCLA, to where he's the heir apparent, the future. I don't know I don't know why they can't get over the hump. I don't know what it is. It took Michigan forever too. I don't know.
One would have thought they could have gotten it done simply because Franklin won 9 games at Vanderbilt twice.
Should have a statue of him out there.
I don't think he's the greatest person in the world, but we're talking about football coaches. There ain't a whole lot of them that are real good people, so they're not preachers.
Like the Right Reverend and Hugh.
Well, we've seen how that can fall apart. So, I had notes on it. They do have that kid, Drew Alar. I'm not sure how you say his last name. It's supposed to be a rising star at QB, but the wide receiving core is a little thin. So I don't know if he's got anybody to throw to, but they got a lot coming back on defense, so they'll be good on defense.
Yeah, ain't no doubt.
It's a tough row when you got to play when you're in the same division as Ohio State and Michigan. Not just the same conference, you're in the same division.
We live in the Mississippi Delta South. It's 157 degrees here right now.
It's hotter than that.
But when you turn on Big Ten football in November, December, everybody's got. They're not even goose towns. They're bigger than goose towns.
They have to roll themselves into the stadium.
I don't know what, but it's so funny because they pan over the stadium. And you see like 8 feet of snow over here, and I love that shit.
And you and I are still in our shorts at that time.
I'm trying to get in the pool.
You think that water's warm enough to jump in?
Yeah, no, that's just fun for us down here to see it.
It actually cools us off when we watch those games.
Yeah, those fans up there are second to the SEC fans. I think that's the second most loyal fan base in the country, from what I've seen.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, they love their football. I mean, that's why the Big Ten is they're the Big Ten and the SEC are the two best conferences, that there are right now. So, yeah, they really get after it, even in that cold. I mean, that is dedication. I don't think I could do that anymore. So Ohio State's got to replace their quarterback. C.J. Stroud's off to the NFL, off to the Houston Texans. But they've got Marvin Harrison Jr. out there, wide receiver. I think he's one of the top 2 players in the country, if not the number 1 in my book.
Yeah.
So somebody's got to get it out there to him. Of course, Ohio State's going to have it rolling on offense, and they usually have a pretty good defense. So we'll see what happens there. Michigan, they get J.J. McCarthy back, and they've got Blake Corum in the backfield, and they've got Jim Harbaugh as a coach, so they're going to continue to play bully ball. And that's the way they've been successful against Ohio State.
Do you want to dive into? I don't know a lot about it, but they offered a 4-game suspension, which I didn't know you could just negotiate with NCAA. Which apparently they said no.
So, well, the different arm of the NCAA came back and said we don't accept that.
Yeah. Well, so Michigan. I didn't know what are the NCAA even doing anymore.
They can't. They have no power.
So Michigan comes back. They offer 4. They say no. They suspend him for 3.
Well, the school did it. Yeah, the school
suspended him for 3. Like, let's screw y'all then.
We'll do our own thing. Yeah.
So they pop him for 3 games. Well, what are they going to do? What if he takes a pro job next year? And he just, I don't even know what he did. I honestly don't know what he did wrong. Probably nothing.
It was a COVID deal. It was from back in COVID. They were hosting recruits. During when all the restrictions and stuff, like I think they did some stuff during the COVID deal.
Lord, he didn't let him sleep on his couch, did he?
No. That's when you get your whole school shut down.
Yeah, you don't get over that one. Yeah. So that takes 8 years till you find you a Lane Kiffin.
The NCAA completely neuters you when you let a kid sleep on a couch.
But that's my point, I guess, is what happens because Harbaugh could probably jump NFL whenever he got ready.
Of course,
I think there's opportunities there for him.
I don't know why. I mean, he kind of fell out of favor with the 49ers front office at the time, and they didn't see eye to eye, and so he left. But it's not like he wasn't successful.
No, he was good.
I mean, so yeah, I think any NFL team that was looking for a coach would absolutely reach out to him.
And apparently that team had a lot of stuff going on internally that it never got out, and he just handled it really well.
Yeah. I mean, there was stuff going on, but he was able to take care of it.
Yeah. Anyways, we didn't get to run off a little bit.
That's okay.
But I just want to bring that up because I just don't know why the NCAA is still a thing. I don't understand what their agenda is or why they feel the need to poke a bear, which would be Jim Harbaugh, because he can literally jump pro and then destroy them.
Yeah, and the way that college football is now, it's so pro player. Like the NCAA is terrified of looking like they're against the players now. Used to, they didn't care. I mean, and they would punish new players come. When they finally punished Ole Miss, the people that did the bad stuff were gone.
Yeah.
By the time the punishment came out, so I mean, what's the point? Yeah. And that's what sucks about if they would have done punishments quicker and punish the people that were getting in trouble, that would make more sense. And the whole, what's the thing where they make you give up wins? You have to, whatever the word is, or they say, "Oh, you didn't win those games." Really? Are you sure? Because if I go back and look, it says W right there next to it.
No, I was in the stadium. They won the football
Vacate
game.
wins. That's it. Vacate.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just silly. Or take down banners and that kind of thing. Like who? What? No, I'll hang my banner up. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do to me? I mean, so they're not gonna. So the only card they're playing now is they're denying second time waivers, like kids that are transferred a second time. They're denying some of those waivers because it's the only thing they have now to enforce rules.
Well, some of that needs to get under control, but I do
It
not
does.
I do not trust the NCAA to do the right thing by the student athletes
There's-
at all. they're gonna do whatever helps,
Yeah. Well, I'm not a big. I wish they would go back to where you got to sit a year if you transfer. Just make that the rule, and that be it, and just stick to it. Just say, look, you transfer, you got to sit a year. That's it.
It would take care of a lot of this jumping around. You got some guys that have transferred 3 and 4 times.
Yeah, and so they either they go get hardship waivers for mental health, or they finally finish, they graduate, now they can transfer as a grad transfer, and that's a free transfer. And
Yeah, some of you guys been in college 7 years. Seems like it anyway.
well, especially now because they all got that free COVID year.
Yeah.
They got an extra year. A lot of these guys.
Yeah.
All right, so anybody we want to talk. I mean, again, we know everybody knows who the top teams are in the Big Ten. So who else are we looking at here in the Big Ten?
Curious to see what Illinois does with their boy Luke Altmaier.
Yeah, I had that written
Bellama.
down as a note. A lot of people who listen to us probably know that name. Former Ole Miss QB transferred.
Yeah,
I think he was just announced today or yesterday as the starting quarterback for Illinois.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he's going to start. I like that he went there because that defense is going to be good. They like to run the football, which will help him. I'm pulling for him because I was pulling for him at Ole Miss.
Yeah, and Bielema, he's going to play that way. They're
Yeah.
going to run the football. They're going to try to stop the run. They got all the guys up front. You'll have a big offensive line, a big defensive line. They'll play bully ball. Kind of try to play the way that Michigan plays, just without the explosive talent on each side.
I'm taking my disappointing team, which we'll start with, would be Northwestern, of course.
Yeah, that had to be both of ours.
I'm not going into it. I got my notes right here. I mean, y'all know why. It's the whole thing. Whether you believe
just
it or you
icky.
don't believe it, it's just not. It's not going to be good. Even the coaches on staff came out with shirts and stuff to support Fitzgerald, which means either they don't get it, what they did, they don't understand why
Or it
it's a
didn't
thing,
happen,
or somebody's making a whole thing out of nothing. Either way, I don't see why. I mean, no, I'm not touching this team. I'm not getting near them. So that's where I'm at. With that my surprise team's gonna be Maryland this year. With good Lord, I
Do
don't
you
know why
fade all the Northwestern side totals? Like if it comes out and says their side, like they're supposed to score, their over under for scoring would be 20. I don't think they'll see 20 points all year.
Oh, per game?
Yeah.
No, not in a bit. No, I don't. Yeah, I don't. Their offense wasn't a juggernaut anyway. They always got by playing like stingy defense. Keep them to a field goal, and their quarterback was always athletic and mobile.
Yeah.
So when the play broke down, and it did, he could escape and run. But I don't. They've lost so much. They're losing a guy like Fitzgerald. I'm not sticking up for the guy. I'm just saying.
No, he was their guy.
Yeah, you don't get over that.
No.
So, anyways, yeah, Maryland's my surprise team. Good Lord, Tula Tagovailoa.
Little pineapple.
Yeah. He's back for his 8th year, 17th year. Coach Loxley, I really like him as a football coach. I think he's really good. They're struggling with talent every year, whatever, but somehow, some way, he's got a 8th year quarterback, and I think he can get it done. He knows how to get it done. I like them to make a run in the Big Ten this year.
Do they play? Which side do they play in?
I have to look real quick.
All right, so They're okay. So they're in the same side as Michigan and Ohio State. That's what hurts them.
Yeah, no,
That's
yeah.
the only
Well,
problem. I
yeah,
mean, Michigan and Ohio State. That's what
yeah.
hurts them.
Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State, it kills them. I mean, I mean, I get it, but
I mean, if they were in the West, there we go. Yeah, if Maryland was in the West, I would kind of like them as a sleeper to win
no,
the West.
no, they're. I think it's time. I think Loxley knows how to build a program and get it done. There's a few coaches in the country. I feel like it doesn't really matter where you put them; they're going to come out pretty good, and I think he's one of them. So I like senior leading quarterback. Anyways, that's kind of where I am with that.
Yeah.
And so, who's your surprise team in the?
You know what's funny is I didn't really kind of write it down like that. I don't hate Maryland. The only problem I see there is the division they're in that East.
Yeah.
But I don't guess they have to win all those games, obviously. But there may be a chance they could get an upset. Maybe like they get Penn State at home.
Yeah.
That's a chance for an upset.
Yep.
I don't think they can go to Ohio State and win.
Yep.
I don't think they can beat Michigan. But that's really the only two surefire losses I see on the schedule for Maryland. I think that so I agree with you. They could be a surprise team because I think they could go. So if there's 12, I see 9 wins, right? That possible 9 win, probably 9 games they'll be favored in. Except they get Illinois at home, they would have to play really good to beat Illinois. So that may be another toss-up game.
Yeah, I was gonna go Illinois, but I don't want to put any pressure on.
Yeah,
Luke.
I would love to see Illinois win the West.
I don't want him to hear that I picked him as my surprise.
Yeah.
Because when I do stuff, it travels.
The West will probably come down to Iowa and Wisconsin again, just because Iowa, man, that defense is incredible. But boy, that offense, goodness gracious, and the guy is still there. He's still got his son as OC. Brian Ferentz is still the OC over there.
I don't know. I don't
I got
know.
I mean, they went out and got Cade McNamara from Michigan since J.J. McCarthy took over for the Wolverines. But that defense is going to be great. And they play in the West, not in the East, so they don't have to face Michigan, Ohio State until the championship game. So it'll probably come down between them and Wisconsin, but I think I'm kind of pulling for Illinois there. I don't have much on the Gophers. I think they kind of disappointed last year. They started out pretty strong, and then they just kind of faded through the middle of the season. Purdue's going to be bad. Northwestern will be bad. Matt Rule needs probably another year to get Nebraska in the right spot.
Lord, let them do something.
Your phone's going to be blowing up every Saturday from your Nebraska buddy.
Well, here's the problem with that. That team fired coaches that won 10 games a year. Fired them.
Yeah.
Wasn't good enough.
Mm-mm.
The hell's going on?
I don't know.
Sometimes you get what you deserve. I know I'm going to hear, whatever. Sometimes you can be greedy. And
Yeah.
I'm just saying that, the triple option was a triple option. It worked for 15 years. You can't, you ain't doing that again. It ain't happening.
And just because you were good doesn't mean you'll always be good. And we're seeing that with some, Nebraska is a prime example. Just because you once were great doesn't mean you'll always be great.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I love their fan base. I love what they do on game day.
You've been there, right? You've been to that stadium.
I've been there a couple of times. It's not compared to an SEC game, but the amount of people is crazy.
Yeah.
It's insane. If you took everybody that's in the Grove and in the stadium and packed them into the stadium, you would probably not be what it is at a Nebraska football game.
Yeah.
So, anyways, it's
loyal
just crazy.
fans.
No, they're great people up there drinking the red beers on Saturday morning. Anyways.
Yeah, so look, I think I kind of got a soft spot for Illinois because we kind of jumped on them early last year. We liked them, and they just except for that one game at the beginning of the season. Other than that, they kind of helped me out most of the year. Wisconsin is the one that I'm maybe most intrigued at, just simply because they go out and get Luke Fickell, and then Luke Fickell turns around and hires Phil Longo.
Yeah.
That does not fit Wisconsin football.
Or Fickell.
Or the people that they have.
Yeah.
That's the mind blowing how I don't understand. I don't know what he was thinking there. What you got any thoughts and
I think me and you
with
had this.
that?
I think me and you had this conversation. Fickle is gonna have to rein him in, or if he doesn't, it'll be just streak routes and
Yeah, but do they have the athletes for
craziness.
that, or the quarterback? Who's going to be throwing all this?
They went out and got the guy from SMU. I don't have his name.
Oh, okay. You know, he could probably sling it.
Yeah, no. Oh goodness gracious. We'll circle back. I know who it is. I just can't call his name right now. He played at SMU forever. I think that's who they went out and got anyway. So.
All right. Well, who do you think's going to win the Big Ten, Paul?
Oh, Ohio State. Michigan's not beating them 3 years in a row.
I think they get it done again.
Michigan?
I think they just know how to bully them, and these guys. I know he lost like the first 4 years he was there.
Yeah, I don't think he beats them 3 years.
Now he's turned the tables on them.
And I have no inside knowledge, I know they bring in Kyle McCord. He's going to be the starter there, from what I've heard, to take over C.J. Stroud. I don't think you beat them that many. If they beat them again this year, you might see a change in Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, how much more how much more are they going to put up with Ryan Day losing to Michigan constantly? That's not going to be good.
Yeah.
But then they went out there and should have beaten Georgia last year in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I
Played
don't know.
them well. Yeah, you're right.
Michigan beats Ohio State, and then Michigan gets beat by TCU, and Ohio State down there beat Georgia. A missed field goal. So I don't know. I'm gonna lean Michigan here. I think that they've figured something out in the last couple of years, and I like J.J. McCarthy and like Blake Corum. So if they can bully them again, I think they get Ohio State again.
All right, I'm going Ohio State. You're going Michigan. We'll go a 15-pack of Natty.
All right, I like it.
Congratulations.
We got our first bet of the year. There it is.
Congratulations, Iowa.
Iowa, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Or Wisconsin, the air raid Wisconsin all of a sudden.
Well, that's going to be new up there.
All right, so we're going to move to the last conference. Most of our listeners are probably more familiar with all these teams. So my idea was kind of just to run down these teams. I didn't give a lot for each one so we could hit every team. So I just figured we go to the SEC and we'll just start in the East.
All right, just to close the chapter on the Big Ten, Tanner Mordecai.
Tanner Mordecai, yeah.
He can sling it.
He leaves SMU to go to Wisconsin.
Yes, sir.
Right. Well, we'll see what happens. I'm intrigued. I can't wait to see the first game and see how that goes.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
All right, so we'll move on to the SEC, and we're going to start in the East Division.
Okay.
And we'll just start. Let me pull up something here. We'll just start with Georgia. I mean, we'll just go with the number one team there in that side, the two-time reigning college football national champions, Georgia Bulldogs.
Yep. I don't know what we can talk about them all day. I don't know who. I mean, they got to figure the quarterback situation out. That Vandergrift guy we're talking about. The other
No,
night,
it was announced today.
Yeah, he's not.
Yesterday. Carson Beck has the job.
Yeah, so the Vandergrift Heisman votes or
what was
picks or
that?
bets. Yeah, just get rid of. Throw that ticket away. I don't know. I don't know what you do. I mean, they just reload. It's the whole thing. I don't know. I like Tennessee. I like Joe Milton. I know we're going to fight about that later, but it's so good.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing, the thing about Georgia, they announced Carson back. He's going to take over Stetson Bennett. So they'll probably have time to figure that out. I think the schedule allows them to do that.
Well,
But they still got Brock Bowers, who is probably one of the top 5 players in all of college football, even though he's a tight end.
yeah.
And that defense is going to be great. They just keep bringing in talent. Their 3 deep is better than some teams' number ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to stop the Georgia Bulldogs. So since you mentioned it, we'll go to Tennessee. Let's talk about the Volunteers.
I like Joe Milton.
What is it that you like about Joe Milton?
Okay, so I'm gonna say something, and this I have a whole rant for my Heisman thing when I'm gonna go because I like Joe Milton to win the Heisman. But I'm not ready to display it yet.
Wow.
Not ready to display.
All right, so you're going to hold on to that. Yeah, I mean, Heupel's done a great job there. That my notes are they lose Hendon Hooker, they lose Jalen Hyde and Cedric Tillman, wide receivers. That's a ton of firepower to lose on the offense. I'm sure Heupel, obviously, he knows how to get offense ran, so they'll be okay. But I think, honestly, you're talking about Milton. I think Nico Iamaleava is the best quarterback on the roster, and he's not going to be playing. He may be playing midway through the season, though, and take over for Milton about game 6 or 7.
Why do you hate? I mean, you just can't let me have my moment.
But Milton will get the start there. He'll have a chance to prove me wrong, and which I'm sure he will, go out there and make a fool out of me, and that's okay. Look, I've been wrong before. I mean,
they played Clemson in a bowl game last year. Who they play in a bowl game? Joe Milton tore them up.
Did he?
Tore them up.
A bowl game.
In a bowl game.
You're using a bowl game.
Mm-hmm. I don't have my notes in front of me for the Heisman show. I'm sorry. I'm not doing well over here. No, I like Tennessee this year. I think they give Georgia everything they want. I don't know. I'm not. Why? I mean, I know I picked Ohio State, but they have like Michigan there or whatever, and we're in this. They have something.
Yeah. So they defeated Clemson 31-14. Joe Milton threw for 251.
Yeah, he killed them. Absolutely destroyed them.
You act like he threw for 400 yards in that game.
Against that Clemson defense, he absolutely did.
Come on.
Destroyed them. Yeah. Look at him right there on the TV. Joe Milton.
Hey, if he doesn't come out well, you better watch that Saturday, September 23rd game when the UTSA Roadrunners come into town.
How many points? How many yards does he throw for against Virginia?
Probably 350.
If he doesn't throw for 350 yards against Virginia, I will go, okay, maybe I was wrong.
They're bad.
They're bad. They are bad.
Will he play the whole game? I mean, that's a Power 5 team. I mean,
Virginia, they got win. Austin Peay win. Florida, we don't know. Should beat Florida. UTSA, I'm with you there.
Watch South Carolina. South Carolina beat the ever-loving shit out of them last year before Hendon Hooker got hurt.
Wasn't that after the Alabama game? They beat Alabama and then went and lost to South Carolina?
Maybe.
I don't remember.
Let's take a look. I mean, let's just look. No. They played a whole bunch of games before. They lost to Georgia on the November 5th, then they beat Missouri 66-24, and then they lost to Carolina 63-38.
Yeah.
Before beating poor Vanderbilt 56-0. What do we do? Come on, man. What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know.
So you like Tennessee? You think they'll get? They get Georgia Saturday, November the 18th, and they get Georgia at home. They got to go to Alabama this year, though.
I like Tennessee. I just don't. I don't want to pick Georgia.
I get it. What's the fun in that? But Georgia's schedule sets up much better. I mean, they're super talented. And their schedule doesn't really matter for Georgia, but
yeah, I'm going to take Tennessee in the East. But to be fair, don't go off that for me because I don't really care about the East.
Fair enough. That's fair, I guess. That's fair.
I think Florida's shitty. I think Vanderbilt may be the best team in the country at the end of the year. I love it. Dude, no, honestly, I think they're over-under. Vanderbilt's over-under. Set at 2.5. Can you pull their schedule real quick?
Oh, they're going over that. I think Vanderbilt goes bowling this year.
Yeah, I think they start the year 4-0. And that clears them. I mean, they're done with it.
Yeah, then they just got to find a win in there.
Then you just wait until January to go get your money.
Hey, they get Auburn at home early November, but Auburn may be done by that time. And Hugh Freeze can lose to Vanderbilt. We've seen that happen.
He's gonna. If you're a fan of Auburn, let's just get you ready for this.
Yes, the whole experience. You get the whole thing.
He's gonna go out there and he's gonna beat Bama.
Yeah, he could do that.
And then he's going to go lose to Troy. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Just letting you know.
Yeah, they got to start off 4-0. They got to go to Wake Forest. That may be their toughest game in the first 4.
Wake's down. I think they go 4-0.
and they're at UNLV. Now, I think they can beat Florida again because I think Florida is bad.
Well, UNLV's got Barry Odom, but he's going to need a little time.
So they don't have another. They play all their non-cons their first 4 games, and then the rest of the year is, of course, the 8 SEC games. So they got to find 2 wins. I'm looking at Florida as an opportunity. Auburn is an opportunity, and then you get Missouri at home. There's a chance.
That's my favorite over pick on a team season total for a team is.
So what is their
Vanderbilt.
season total?
It's either 2.5 or 3.5.
Why would it be that with their first 4 non-cons that they have?
I don't
Does
know.
Alabama A&M count?
Why wouldn't it count? It's a team. It's a
Because
season
they're
total.
FCS. Oh well, season total. Yeah.
I hope it counts.
Yeah.
I'm mad. I'm standing there causing a scene. All right, let's move on.
Yeah, so the rest of the East, I love the pickup of Devin Leary going to the Kentucky Wildcats. I think that's going to help their offense because they got a stud over there, a freshman standout last year was Barry and Brown at the wide receiver position. So he's coming into his second year. I think he's going to be really good. Defense is not the problem in Kentucky. Last year it was the offense. And Will Levis was hurt, I believe. Seems like he got hurt before the Ole Miss game or during the Ole Miss game, of course. I'm sorry, Paul. I didn't mean to bring up his name again. But, I mean, that's kind of what happened. But I don't hate Kentucky over there. I think they may be able to surprise a little bit. And then Shane Beamer, boy, he's got the Gamecocks bought in. They love Beamer over there. And he's done a much better job than I ever thought he would.
Beamer ball.
Do you believe in Spencer Rattler, or do you think that was a flash in the pan the last 3 or 4 games?
I don't know what he is. I honestly don't. I don't know. I know he's run against better competition, and he's lost out in QB battles. I don't know. I think maybe he plays better than he practices.
Probably.
Maybe one of those guys that just can't. Which, I mean, it's fine, but it's going to be hard on him when he gets to the NFL.
Yeah, you better ask Kyler Murray about it.
Yeah, you're not going to be. It's going to be tough on you.
Yeah, no, I think obviously the change of scenery helped him, and he was really good at the end of the year. They're a team I'm kind of looking at because I want to say, yeah, they're going to be a surprise, but then also I just don't know if Rattler's going to, now that they're getting a little bit of hype, is he going to crash and burn like he did at Oklahoma?
Yeah.
So I'm a little nervous there. I've already mentioned I think Florida's one of the worst teams in the SEC this year.
Yeah, I was just checking something out here. I can't remember. They still have the same AD that hired Mullins there. Is it
Florida?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because this guy has. He's got to be.
Napier?
Their non-conference is Florida State and Utah. I mean, they got others, but they got to win those 2 games.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't think they can beat Utah. The only way they beat Utah if Cam Rising has to sit out because he's not completely cleared from his injury in the bowl game. Was that an ACL? That could be tough.
Yeah, Yeah, maybe. They got them losing to Utah, McNeese State win, Tennessee loss, Charlotte win, Kentucky loss, Vanderbilt win. Not so fast.
Yeah.
South Carolina lost, Georgia lost, Arkansas win. Not so fast.
No, they won't beat Arkansas. No, they'll get Arkansas at home, but I don't think they can beat them.
LSU lost, Missouri win, Florida State lost. So that's 1, 2.
They'll lose that Missouri
3,
game too.
4, 5, maybe 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 8 losses for the Florida Gators. He gets fired if they lose 8 games.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I was listening to another podcast, this guy that used to be in coaching. Do you remember the whole back when Hugh Freeze was at Ole Miss, he had a guy he used to be on his staff, and he went to Alabama, and we played Alabama. Do you remember the whole binoculars deal? They always showed the guy up in the booth with the binocular. His name was Tyler Siskey, but people still give him hell about it. But he seems like a good dude, but he's big buddies with, apparently, he loves Billy Napier, and he thinks the Gators are going to be the surprise team in the East. And it's like, look, only thing I needed to know was when you announced your starting quarterback, and the name is Graham Mertz, who couldn't get it done at Wisconsin. And you had apparently, you had a number 4 draft pick in Anthony Richardson last year, and you couldn't do anything last year.
See,
sorry, I know that hits you right in the Will Levis hole, and I apologize, but I had to bring it up because we're
Uh,
talking about Florida.
I don't understand why you must be ugly to
What
me.
do you think Graham Mertz is going to be? I mean, I don't. I think you're on the same page as me. I don't think he's a good court. I mean,
Second best handoffer in the country beside ukulele. There's going to be a runoff
Hey.
between them two.
that's the best. You're Florida. That's the best guy you could get to come to your program to quarterback it.
Yep.
There's got to be some issues going on at Florida.
It's got to be him.
Maybe. All right, I'm going to bring up a team that I think the Gators are going to lose to late in the season, and that's the Missouri Tigers. I know he can be weird and he's a little goofy, but
nerd.
Eli Drinkwitz has done a pretty decent job there. They lost a bunch of close games last year, nearly beat Georgia. Now their schedule is a little. I mean, they gotta play Kansas State, they got to play LSU and Georgia and Tennessee.
That South Dakota game is going to. Why would you schedule them? Don't do that. And Kansas State. Oh,
Yeah,
no.
Kansas State, that's a tough one. But Missouri's got like 3 or 4 dudes on the all SEC team on defense that are coming back this year, including cornerback Chris Abrams Drain. They're going to be really good. If they get anything out of Brady Cook at QB, he comes back. But they went and got a new offensive coordinator, and because Drinkwitz used to call the plays, and now he's decided he's not going to call plays, which opposite of Jimbo Fisher, Drinkwitz said, I got to quit calling plays. I'm going to let somebody else take this thing over because I got to do more
Yeah, we're going to
head
talk about
coaching
that
stuff.
in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get there. So, honestly, my surprise team in the East would be Missouri. Their schedule is tough, but, man, they've got a lot of talent on defense, and if they can get anything on offense, they may surprise us. And then they're not going to beat Georgia. I don't think they're going to beat Tennessee. But
the schedule is brutal.
I know. I know. That's the
Drinkwitz is that guy that you meet and you talk to him for like 2 hours and you don't think nothing of it, and then it's like the next day you start thinking about it, you're like, that was a smart dude.
yeah. Well, I think this Kansas State deal is a home and home. I think they went to Manhattan, Kansas last year and got their brains beat out by K-State last year.
That's a good football
So
team.
now Kansas State is, returning. They're coming to Missouri, but yeah, I don't hate the Missouri Tigers. Kind of my surprise would have been between the two of. I guess if you got Vanderbilt bowling, they have to be the surprise though, right?
Yeah.
Of that division.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a super strong division. That's the problem. Like Florida's bad, Vanderbilt's not good. Kentucky's okay. South Carolina, you don't know what the quarterback's doing. Because the top 2 teams are so good between Georgia and Tennessee.
I don't know if Vanderbilt makes the bowl game, but they win more than 4 games.
They'll pop somebody. They're gonna get some. They're gonna win those first 4, and then they'll pop some. But they got to get 2 wins. That's the only issue.
It might be Auburn.
Yo, that's what I said. I think they have a chance against Auburn, and I think they can beat. They beat Florida last year. I think they have another shot to do it again, even though they go to the Swamp, I believe. Yeah, they go to the Swamp this year. But there's a chance right there. There it is. You win your first 4. You get Florida at Florida, and then you hope you can get Auburn when Auburn comes to town.
Yeah.
So, good luck to the Clark Lee and Vanderbilt Commodores. All right, let's move to the side that everybody, you and I and everybody else that listens to us is so passionate about, the SEC West. Absolute monster this year. So, how you want to start this thing? Just pick a team. Let's talk about it, and we'll just go back and forth on the teams we want to talk about here.
You want to start with just the A and go down? Alabama.
We'll leave the other 2 for the last. They'll be last. So we'll start.
Arkansas.
Yeah, we'll start with Arkansas for sure.
Yeah. 7-6 straight up last year. 7-6 gets the spread. 10-3 to the over last year. KJ Jefferson comes back, 4 starters on offense, 5 on defense. See how much work I did on this? Not the
Boy,
other.
you really you were been waiting on this all night. This is the one. You're dialed in now.
KJ Jefferson played most of last year hurt. They lose both coordinators, Kendall Briles and Dan Enos, which I don't know if Dan Enos. No, he's going to be replaced by Dan Enos. I don't know if Dan Enos is the guy that can step in and keep that thing going like Kendall Briles did. Barry Odom's gone. They bring in UCF defensive coordinator Travis Williams, who, when is the
The
last
Central
time?
Florida Knights. Is that
Yeah,
what you just said?
when is the last time the Central Florida Knights has impressed you on defense?
Never.
Except when they had the one arm guy when what's his name was there from Nebraska.
So who was the guy that was so good at Arkansas? Where'd he go?
Barry Odom.
Barry Odom. Oh, he got a head coaching job.
Yeah, he's at
Yeah, that's right.
he's at UNLV, and it'll take him a minute. That UNLV program, there's a lot of effort and energy going into
trying to get it done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, what's crazy is they had Barry Odom last year, and they were bad last year.
yeah, I don't, KJ Jefferson, I think, spent a lot of time. Well, I saw some stuff. He spent a lot of time on the coast, the West Coast, doing a lot of beach work and foot movement stuff, and working with some quarterback gurus. If they can keep him healthy, look out. But with two new coordinators coming in, it's going to be tough on them.
KJ's health is their biggest issue because I don't know if you agree. KJ Jefferson is the best returning quarterback in the SEC West. And that's saying a lot. What to me, I mean, just for experience. I mean, I guess you could argue Jaden Daniels, but KJ's right there, right?
I think KJ Jefferson has done more for Arkansas than Jaden Daniels has done for LSU.
Oh yeah, because we saw it last year, right? When KJ went down, Arkansas couldn't do anything on offense, and of course they still have Rocket Sanders running the rock. I mean,
they got talent. I just don't know. Danny, I don't. I mean, I've heard his name throughout, college football and whatever, but I've never put his name with an explosive offense, which I may be completely misleading.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, but Art Browse, Kendall Browse, that whole dynamic is.
But I think they try to get too cute too much, and maybe that hurt KJ. Maybe Dan will simplify it just a little bit more, and
maybe
I don't know.
But once again, he was hurt most of the year. So
here's the problem with Arkansas. I'm gonna give you the problem right here. From September the 23rd to October the 14th, at LSU versus Texas A&M, at Ole Miss, at Alabama. That and then they come home, and who do they got coming in there? The Mississippi State Bulldogs. That is an incredible 5-game stretch right there. That it could. They lose the first two. They could go 0-5 in that stretch.
Yeah.
Just because you know how it goes. Momentum. Like look at the Rebels last year where they lose a game and then just rolling downhill.
That schedule was so easy up front, though. I mean, that last year for the Rebels. We'll talk about that in a minute, though.
Yeah, I mean that's just a tough schedule for Arkansas, and I think KJ will be able to put them on his back and go win a couple games, and Rocket can just run the rock, but. That's really the biggest. And can that defense be any better? I don't know that I'm sold that defense can be much better than last year.
There's probably 3 or 4 teams in the SEC West that are replacing both coordinators this year, so it's going to be interesting to what head coach can get it together the fastest.
I've never seen a division that's so stacked from top to bottom that also everybody's got question marks, but also you could find a team out there that maybe could go to the national championship.
No.
Isn't that I mean, or they could just all eat each other up and nobody makes it. I mean, somebody's got to make it to to Atlanta for the championship game, but hell, the last team standing may not be able to stand when they get to Atlanta and have to face Georgia or Tennessee.
Could be bad.
All right, so we'll move on to the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Want to hear about them? Here they go.
Yeah.
11-2 last year, 6-6 against the spread, 6-7 to the over and under. Win total set at 10.5. Jalen Milroe, and then Tyler Simpson returned to battle it out for the quarterback duties. I think they got an incoming guy named Tyler Buckner.
Yep. He transferred from Notre Dame.
He come from Notre Dame with Tommy Reese, who takes over OC, so he knows the offense. So here's the thing. Nick Saban does his best work when that offense is in turmoil.
Isn't that crazy?
when that offense, they're running 5 and 6 quarterbacks out of there, they don't know what play. I mean, when he just locks in and says, okay, we're running the ball and we're going to play good defense, they win national titles.
Yeah.
So, and I ain't going to lie, I think he's pissed off this year. I know the talent wise on offense is out, but they got guys. So Alabama, I mean, 11-2 is not a bad year. He's right. I mean, they shouldn't have been left out of the playoff, but you can't put them in because of what went on. You can't. You
No.
can't. I mean, it is. I mean, everybody knows, and you can't. You can't just say it's Alabama and everybody else. Whatever.
Well, they lost to LSU and to Tennessee.
Yeah. Well, and
They didn't make the championship game.
yeah, but they ended up ranked higher than a team that made the playoff. So I think that's what he's saying. But anyways, I don't know. He. They are also a team replacing 2 coordinators.
Tommy Reese comes in as OC, and Kevin Steele comes in as DC as Pete Golding leaves and goes to the Ole Miss Rebels.
Kevin Steele is a Saban guy, though. I think Kevin, that defense and Saban's not going to let that defense suffer too much, and it's pissed him off probably the last 2 years that they've been gashed like they've been gashed. This whole spread. I'm not going to say Lane Kiffin invented it, but Kiffin, Browse, the way that they move players in the backfield and get eyes moving and hit you over the top,
Yeah.
it's pissing him off.
He's like, what do I got to do to
Yeah.
beat this thing?
So anyway, that's my take on Alabama. I think you're going to get a fired up, and I understand the man's getting older in age, but you're going to get a fired up Saban who's not sure about his offense, and that is very dangerous for the rest of the country.
Yeah, and now because people don't know, the media people are out there going, "Hey, look, Saban is smiling." Does he know something we don't know? Like we're all saying, maybe they don't have it together, and it all comes down to the quarterback because nobody knows who the quarterback is. Is it going to be his Buckner kid? Is it going to be Milroe? Is it going to be the youngster Ty Simpson?
I watched their spring game, and Milroe couldn't hit.
He can't throw the football.
He's athletic. And all that, but he's not very accurate. I don't think. And then I didn't see much of this the Simpson guy. But if they struggle at all, Reese is going to go with this guy. If
he'll take the Buckner kid. Yeah, he'll say, I know him. I know what he can do.
He's
been
knows
in the system.
what I want.
Yeah, for sure. That's what Bryce Young, man. He pulled some Houdini acts last year to get them some wins. I mean, of course, you could say, well, they could have gone 12-0 for one play here and there. Yeah, but they also could have lost 5 games. I know you can say that about a lot of teams, but if it hadn't been for Bryce Young, they would have lost to Texas. They would have lost to Ole Miss. And if Jimbo Fisher isn't a dumbass, they would have lost to Texas A&M.
Oh, well, you can't expect much there.
But I mean, that's how close they were to other losses last year. So I'm not trying to say that the Alabama. I mean, because obviously they just bring in talent constantly. I'm just skeptical of the quarterback situation, and I hear what you're saying because we've seen it, right? I mean, we've had to see it up close for so many years, and he's the GOAT. He's the best guy out there. So if anybody can make this thing work, it's Nick Saban, but. I don't know. I don't think I have them winning the West this year.
I think we get our Nick Saban chewing the coordinator out on the sideline back this year.
You think so? Yeah,
he might
it'll happen at some point.
He might get them both.
All right, so let's make it who we want to go with. Let's go with LSU then. Let's go. Right. Let's talk about the LSU, the reigning SEC West champions.
10-4 last year, 8-6 against the spread. Return offense, they have 7. Defense is 4.
What are you doing?
Their win totals over.
Oh my God! Somebody's gonna start yelling at you. Probably my wife. It's like, what is Paul doing? I can't hear him.
I'm not very excited about this. No, all right. 10-4 on the year last year. SEC West champs. 8-6 against the spread. Returning starters on offense are 7. Defense is 4. 9.5 is the win total for Brian Kelly and his LSU Tigers. All of the talent in the world. They come against Florida State last year. We talked about Florida State beating them. Florida State went on to beat them. It's going to be a really good game up front. I don't think Florida State can do it again this year. I think LSU will beat them, but I'm not going to bet on them because I don't like them.
Well, I'm going to be front and center watching that game, but I just don't know who to bet on there either way. I'm with you.
They got State and Ole Miss on the road. One of those 2 schools will beat them at home.
Okay.
One of the other, Ole Miss or State, will take them down.
And they got to go to Alabama as well.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels, he's going to be in the Heisman talk. I just don't like the team. I think he's a great quarterback. I don't want to see him.
Really?
I don't want to see him do good.
Oh, well, I get that. Nobody wants to. Nobody wants to pull for LSU. But I mean, look, they freshman sensation Harold Perkins may show this year that he's the best defensive player in the country.
No, ain't no doubt.
He is an absolute amazing talent on that side of the football, and they get their big guy back up front on the defensive line, and Mason Smith. He had a spring injury last year that put him out of the LSU season last year, but he's back. Now, look, the depth is not there for LSU like they want to be. Even Brian Kelly said it at SEC Media Days. But up front, I mean, number one talent, the first 11 versus first 11, there's as talented anybody in the country, especially on the defensive side of the football. I don't know what they got as far as the running back situation is concerned. The offensive line is experienced because they were young last year, so they should take a step. Of course, Jaden Daniels did have a good year, so they won't have any problem on defense, I don't think. It's just, are they going to be able to replicate what they were able to do on offense last year?
You want to? All right. Here's my prediction: Vanderbilt beats Auburn, and Auburn beats LSU.
Well, that would be your Hugh Freeze experience right there.
I mean that is. Is there a line on that?
to have those two, parlay those two games together?
I mean, they get Auburn at LSU. Hugh Freeze beating LSU at LSU, and if it's at night, I think that's it.
Yeah, that could be the one where he gets somebody.
Because they play Army, and Army's really, really good. You know what they do. I don't think Brian Kelly knows how to play Army because he's played them so many times with Notre Dame.
Right.
And he's always beat the crap out of them.
Well, he played Navy a lot, but he knows how to defend that type of offense.
Navy and he's played Army too. But anyways, I don't see him struggling with Army. At Bama, a loss. I'll get that. If they lose to State or Ole Miss, that's 2.
Yeah, that would put them out.
You know, and if they lose to Auburn, that's 3. And if they don't get by Florida State, that's any national implications involved. So they're out there.
They wouldn't put them out of the SEC running, even if they lost that first game. But yeah, I get where you're coming from.
That's interesting. So 9.5, which means they have to win 10.
Yeah.
Huh. I might dabble.
Might do a little dabbling there.
Yeah, I mean under 9.5, they can't
well,
get to 10.
If you think it's an absolute loss for them going to Tuscaloosa, since they beat Bama last year, and then if you think they lose either at State or at Ole Miss, that's 2, and they may not win. I mean, Florida State could pop them again. Who knows?
Florida State gets them up front, and you got an under on the 9.5. You are in good shape.
You're in good shape. Yeah, that's right. All right, so since you brought up the Auburn Tigers, let's go to Auburn now.
Auburn 5-7 straight up last year. 5-6 against the spread. 8-4 to the over and under, which is 8 overs, 4 unders. How am I doing?
8. They had 8 overs last year. And then with that, all right.
What my math says.
Their defense was bad, so they gave up a bunch of points too.
I didn't say they scored them all.
That's part of it.
Starters returning 2 on offense, which don't matter. It's Hugh Freeze. And defense, they got 8 coming back. Team total set it for the season is 6.5. Hugh's back in the SEC. What's your initial thoughts on Hugh Freeze?
Well, I will tell you that Hugh Freeze is going to be good in year 1. His best coaching job at Ole Miss was in 2012, his first year there, and he took a team that was in complete and absolute shambles, and this was before the transfer portal. He came in there, and he got those guys to a damn bowl game, which was freaking unbelievable. And he had those guys bought in even after they lost 66-30-something to Texas. Yeah. So buy-in is not going to be a problem when it comes to Hugh Freeze, and he does everything that you want as far as the boosters are concerned, all that. He's going to glad hand everybody, make everybody feel good and wonderful, and I'm sure he's going to continue with the Auburn prayer circle in the middle of the field before the game starts. So, yeah, buy-in will not be an issue, and he's going to pop somebody. Be prepared. Yeah. Now, look, I can't sit here and tell you what game that'll be. Paul made a good guess with at LSU. That makes some sense. Or late in the year at Arkansas. The only problem with picking one late in the year is if their season has gone downhill prior to that.
Yeah.
And, of course, you got the big it's going to be an absolute shit show when they go to Oxford. No, when the Rebels come to Auburn, Alabama.
Well, at least he gets to play on the first time there. I mean, the offense is going to be fun. The defense may take a year or two. Ryan Roberts takes over the defense he coached at Delta State, which is right up the road from where we're at right now. The Hugh Freeze experience, what we've talked about, if you don't know and haven't lived through it, it is not for the faint of heart. You're going to have to get your blood pressure medicine in check,
Yeah.
Auburn fans. All that toilet paper you like to use, you may want to keep it for the
Keep
tears.
some of that, yeah.
Hold some of that back. I don't know.
Because there's a chance, they pop somebody and then they lose to New Mexico State. That would be the Hugh Freeze experience.
That's it. That's the whole thing. He's such a great motivator. And if you got one game to play and you got one guy, he's one of the guys you want.
But not only does he get his team up for that game, he gets himself up. And the problem is he doesn't get up nor get the players up for the next game. And this one's easy. We don't have to do all that rah-rah stuff. And then you fall flat and you get popped by somebody.
Yeah, well, okay, so they go at A&M, home to Georgia, and then at LSU. That's a tough.
That's
run.
tough, yeah. And then they get Ole Miss coming into town, and then they got to go, and then they get State coming in.
They'll get. I think they'll beat. I'm gonna watch the LSU game. I don't want to see what happens.
I think it's gonna be tough for them to get 6 wins this year.
Yep.
Honestly, not that he won't do a good coaching job. I just don't know. They've already named Peyton Thorne the starting quarterback over Robbie Ashford.
And Robbie Ashford needs to be on the football field.
Hugh Freeze, right? I mean, he'll have a package. I mean, so Robbie Ashford will come in because Hugh is not afraid. Of course, Hugh said he's not calling plays. He said he's giving it up to the whoever the OC is there.
Well, that you know what that means. Like he doesn't want to do the leg work, but game day, if he's got something he wants to do, he's gonna throw the challenge.
We've heard that before when he hired Phil Longo at Ole Miss. I mean, we've heard this whole deal before. So we'll see what happens with Hugh Freeze and the Auburn Tigers. But just get ready. You're going to win a big one. You're going to get all excited, and then you're going to go drop one like at Vanderbilt or against New Mexico State. So just be prepared for that. All right, so that leaves us with the Aggies before we talk about the other two schools. Texas A&M, the Jimbo Fisher Aggies, Paul.
I didn't even do a cap on these guys. I'm going to tell you why.
I'm going to tell you why. Here we go. All right, well, hit me with it.
It's going to be a freaking comedy show. The whole thing is going to be whether or not Jimbo can swallow his pride for half a season for let Bobby Petrino do what Bobby Petrino can do, and we know he can do.
Yeah, I love the hire.
I don't think they could put the damn Kansas City Chiefs with these two guys coaching, and it's going to be a train wreck.
Yeah.
Train wreck. They go to Miami, second game of the year.
Miami's terrible, though.
That's fine. I get that, but that is a somewhat of a defense. Eventually, and it's probably going to be the Auburn, Arkansas, Alabama run they got to go on. At Tennessee. So that's 4 games. It's probably up in there somewhere is where this thing starts to break down.
Yeah, no, they're going to be all simpatico the first 4 games of the year, if you ask me. They're going to come out 4-0, real nice, and Petrino's calling all the plays, and then boom, something's going to happen.
Yeah, when they beat New Mexico, if they don't score 40 on New Mexico, it may happen earlier than we think. I know they're all saying the right shit, but that is 2 humongous egos. Not on the team, they're on the same side of the ball.
Well, even at SEC Media Days, he knew when he went there he was going to get the question. And he still couldn't just answer it judiciously. Just say, yeah, Petrino's going to call the plays. He couldn't even say it in front of reporters. Much less on game day.
This could be his last year.
You know what I mean? If you can't say it there, where can you say it?
This is gonna be freaking hilarious. I mean, I get it, but I mean, they so much money's went into that program and so much, time and energy and all the talent in the world. Oh my God, you could
All right, so
uh,
all right, I got something on that since you brought it up. Can I
get it.
have a little minute here?
Yeah.
All right, so to me, they're one of the most underachieving teams of the last 3 years. We're all told that the talent's there, right? And they're ready to break out. And it's just, is it really true though?
You think he can't recruit well?
It's not that. I get Jimbo seemed to find ways to hurt the team, right? And usually in college football, talent wins out on the field, does it not? You can usually see when
Mm,
you're super talented, you can get that thing done.
every night, yeah,
I mean, look at
sometimes.
the teams that win,
In the
right?
in
The,
the
the
right,
teams that win big,
yeah,
that they're more talented,
in the right spot, yeah, yeah, I'll go with that.
and yet they don't win.
Well, yeah.
So are they supremely talented, or are most of these guys just overrated? Maybe their
I don't
evaluations are bad,
no, you know what it is? They're overpaid.
or that, yeah,
They got
and
their
they don't
they
have
got
to play.
yeah they got their bag and they ain't worried about playing football.
Maybe
Yeah.
could be it. That was just.
NCAA.
I'm not saying that I'm right or wrong. That was kind of my thoughts. Like, are we just? Do we keep saying this super talented, super talented? So which is it? Is it Jimbo sucks as a coach, or are some of these guys overrated?
I don't know.
I mean, who's come out of there that's great, right? They cannot figure out the quarterback. They're so talented. Yeah, they think this Connor Wegman guy is going to be good. I mean, the last guy that I seen was super good was Devin A-Chain, who's now off to the NFL.
I don't. I'm I never think I'm trying to be a butthole about not like doing the research I did on these other teams, but
Like, it's funny because
it's
you're
just
absolutely
gonna,
right.
it's
It's a
gonna,
show there.
you can't legitimately cap that team with any kind of foresight or knowledge when you got Jimbo Fisher pulling the strings. Because
Yeah.
nothing that's happened is gonna matter. It's gonna be like that thing's gonna when it blows up, it's gonna be really quick and really fiery, and it's gonna be nasty.
And you know what's funny? Like Texas A&M, I guarantee you the people there think that they should be beating the two teams out of Mississippi on a regular basis, just beating them, beating them, beating them. When was the last time they did?
No, for sure A&M. I mean, the state's on them. I'm not sure.
We
what
have
we are.
too.
I'm not
I
sure
mean,
what we
lately.
Are. Yeah, I'm not sure what we are, but
I know we've beat them the last 2 years.
yeah, just poor old Sip over there, just
I mean,
hanging
just
around.
and they can't even. And so I'm sure that's what that we can't even beat a team from Mississippi. Come on. You know?
They're a fiery bunch.
All right, so we've gone over every team with the last two. So we got the Mississippi State Bulldogs, Paul. Well, number one, rest in peace to Mike Leach. That was a big loss. Legendary coach. Hate to see that sudden passing of Mike Leach, but here we are. Mississippi State's taken over by Zach Arnett.
9-4 straight up last year. 7-5 against the Red, returning 7 on offense, 5 on defense. Team total for the year is 6.5, which I'm gonna pull their schedule up a minute. They bring in Ken Barbie. Replace Mike Leach, which he won't run that air raid. He'll run the ball, which most state fans that I know that like talk football, like not rose colored football or whatever, like actually talk about it.
Yeah.
They're gonna really enjoy not having that air raid stuff.
Oh, well, that's not what they ever wanted to do anyway.
Yeah.
They've always wanted to play bully ball. So I never understood the hire of Mike Leach anyway, but they fell in love with him.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, it never made much sense to me anyway.
So 5 of their first 6 games are at home. They get LSU and Bama at home early, which means they'll be healthy. I'm not saying they're going to win the ball games, but it will. They should be competitive enough that Zach Arnett kind of puts the fan base at ease. I would say. I don't know. I think the change, even though how sad it is that it happened. And Zach Arnett's got it. We got to figure out what he is. We don't know.
We have no clue.
Yeah.
Apparently, a good defensive coordinator.
Yeah, and I've never heard of this Kevin Barbie guy. I don't know. I mean, whatever. I don't know. We'll find out. I mean, they got to play the same schedule everybody else does. So
Yeah, I mean, they still have Will Rogers. Obviously, I mean, he's been there. He's been the QB there. Broke a bunch of records. Of course, he's been in that air raid system, and he's going to have to learn a new system. But they're saying he obviously probably, I'm sure, is a smart enough kid to pick up the offense.
he didn't transfer.
And he didn't leave. Yeah, so I mean, he could have left when all that went down, but he's still there. He's going to lead the Bulldog offense, and that defense is going to be good. I mean, with Jet Johnson and Nathaniel Watson at linebacker, they've got probably the best linebacking duo in the SEC with those two guys.
Yeah.
So the defense is probably just going to pick up where it left off. I'm sure Arnett's going to have, he's probably still going to have his hands on that defense, even though I'm sure he's got a defensive coordinator over there to take over for him since he moved to head coach. But that's the thing about the West. There's no really bad team outside of what we think maybe Auburn might be this year.
They scheduled Southern Miss, which is good for the state. They got them losing to LSU, South Carolina, Alabama, Arkansas, Auburn, which I don't know about that one. A&M, I don't know about that one.
No, I don't think they lose at Auburn. I think they can get Auburn.
They can get Auburn. They can get A&M too. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. If he goes, they got him going 6-6. If he goes 8-4 his first year, then they'll speak highly of Mike Leach. But I think as a fan base, they'll be like, you know what?
This is our kind of football.
Yeah, let's run the ball.
That's right. All right, so the last team in the West, that's the Ole Miss Rebels.
Yeah, this is the only other team I didn't do any research on.
Nothing. All right, we know he's still led by Lane Kiffin. They bring in a new defensive coordinator in Pete Golding. He leaves Alabama, comes to Ole Miss. That's where they need the most improvement. Cedric Johnson is still there on the defense line. He's healthy. J.J. McGee's back for a new year. They went and got a bunch of kids out of the transfer portal, especially in the secondary. They got highly touted freshman, another Perkins. So if he's anything like Harold Perkins, not sure exactly how you pronounce his first name, Suntarine maybe, or Suntarian Perkins.
Supposed to be the next P. Willie.
Yeah, but 5-star recruit coming in. You don't want to put too much on a freshman's plate, but he's there. So I hope they've got some things settled on defense. Maybe any improvement there is going to help.
Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name at nose tackle they brought in, but they got some transfers coming in that are going to be really, really good. I don't know, that Tulane game scares the hell out of me. Trey Harris on offense is a big kid. He's like a slot guy. He's going to be a check down kind of guy. I mean, but Jackson Dart's probably got the most talent around. Well, I don't know about that, but
probably. They went
the offensive line is what.
They started 2 freshmen at tackles last year, and they held their own. So now they're another year in. Pass protection is going to be the thing. They were good at run blocking. We'll see if they've, improved their pass blocking. And I think Jackson Dart's going to win that job. I think he's kind of already won that job.
Yeah.
And, but they got Spencer Sanders right there if you need to go to somebody.
They'll have him in the game, I believe.
But, yeah, you mentioned the wide receiver. That's where they were a little thin, but they went out and got Trey Harris. They got Zachary Franklin from UTSA, who I love, but he had an injury. So he may not play till the Tulane or Georgia Tech game. But they did go out and get Cade Prescorn from Memphis, who's a big-time tight end. So he's going to be a big help to finally get the tight end going.
Trigg has not done it.
No, I mean, all the talent there again, but he's just boneheaded.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the problem. Of course, the one name we haven't mentioned, literally the only all-SEC talent on the team, in Quinshon Judkins. Probably he's top 3 running back in the country other than Blake Corum and Rocket Sanders.
Yeah, I like Junkins. I like that whole offensive backfield, really.
Yeah, I think this offense could maybe – I don't know if they'll do as much because Matt Corral just broke out that year, that 2021 year. But, if Jackson takes another step, you could be looking at an offense like that year when they went 10-2 and went to the Sugar Bowl.
They'll be better than they were last year, even though they I don't know if their record would be better. If we can still win at Auburn – and then avoid Vanderbilt, because Vanderbilt. Here lately, Kiffin's done well not losing those
games. Yeah, I don't think he'll lose that game.
If we get by Tulane and we start the year 3-0, we go to Bama and Pete Golden and Kiffin. If we keep Kiffin from running his freaking mouth before the game, just don't say nothing. You and Golden go out there and get it done. Then say everything you want to say after it's over with.
Yeah.
LSU,
at least we get them at home.
And I hate to be this way, but one of these games, LSU or Arkansas, or Auburn. One of these three games is going to be a complete fiasco from the referees.
Oh, for sure. Something stupid will happen. They'll let
And it may be A and
they'll
M. Somewhere.
they'll let one of those defensive crews beat the ever loving shit out of Jackson Dart, just like they let Alabama do it last year. Let them kick the boy in the head,
Yeah.
and did nothing.
They got us beating A and M. I don't know.
Well,
By the time we play A and M, if my predictions are right, that thing's going to be a rolling ball of fire.
Oh, you talking about the A&M's team is going to be bad? Yeah, that's true. So we could catch them at a good time. Of course, got to go to Georgia, which I mean,
Let's hope nobody gets hurt.
yeah.
You know.
The one thing, if you do, like you said, if you get a win at Alabama, even if you lose, if you come home and lose to LSU after that big win, I could see them running the table to get to Georgia. Now you're talking about a one-loss team going to Georgia. You can make a statement. I mean, that could be a huge game.
Yeah.
But I mean, they also could lose to Alabama, lose to LSU, have a tough one against Arkansas. I mean, it could go all the different ways. A&M could have it figured out. So it's probably somewhere in the middle. They could go anywhere from 10-2 to 7-5.
I don't know. I got them. I hate to bet because I'm an Ole Miss fan, so it's weird to because I don't cap it right. I don't see it right.
That's why we typically don't bet on them.
Yeah. So Tulane scares the shit out of me.
I just don't think Tulane's as good as they. I think Tulane loses their first game of the year.
We'll go 1, 2, 3. Fuck, I don't, man. I don't know. Anywhere from 9-3 to Jesus. I hope we make a bowl game.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I get it.
That Tulane game is going to tell us a lot because it's going to put pressure on our defensive secondary, and then it's going to put pressure on Pete Golden. And I don't know if you watched Alabama football, everything about defense, but they hemorrhaged yards at times last year, and so I don't know if it was Saban or him or who the problem was. But we're gonna find out here this year.
And before we get out of here, if I don't know if Paul's got anything else that he wants to talk about, so we wrap up the SEC there. I think I got Georgia winning the SEC. Paul, you got any? Oh no, I guess you would have. Who you got? You got Tennessee winning the East. Who's in the championship game? Tennessee and Bama.
Tennessee and Bama
for the rematch because they play.
Well, Tennessee beats them.
Wow, Tennessee winning the SEC championship game.
Yeah, I mean I know Tennessee people, so I'll be like, look, listen to this.
You're trying to get some favors or something?
Buy me beer.
So we've capped all the not capped. We just kind of previewed the Power 5 conferences. If there's a conference out there that I enjoy watching and you would like to watch other football, this conference is really good. The Sun Belt. They know what they are. They know how to. They play hard-nosed football over there. Some of the teams in the Sun Belt, because you probably don't know, App State, Coastal Carolina, James Madison now in the in Division I.
Oh, that's a really good football team.
South Alabama, Southern Miss, Troy. I mean, there's a lot of decent teams over there to watch. I think South Alabama is going to be tough. I think they beat Tulane straight up in the first game of the year. And I think South Alabama wins the Sun Belt. So watch them. Yeah, I'm picking against Coastal Carolina. I said it right here on the radio, Paul. Not well.
Yeah, they got a new coach this year. We'll see what happens.
Coastal, yeah, that's kind of the reason I'm not picking them there. But they'll probably still be and they still got Grayson McCall.
Yep.
So that's good for Coastal. So that's a fun conference to watch. I enjoy watching and betting the Sun Belt. Anything else you got?
Joe Milton wins the Heisman. Tennessee wins the SEC title.
No wonder you couldn't wait to get. We had this. You've been waiting on this for a month to bring up the Volunteers and Joe Milton. He won't even have a job come week 7. It'll be Nico Iamaleava.
What was our bet or natty bet? Let's go back.
Michigan, Ohio State.
All right, down. Got it.
All right. So we're look coming up week 0. You got Notre Dame and Navy.
Then that line is moving quickly. There's a ton of money coming in on Navy, but the line's going the opposite way. It is weird. I liked Notre Dame minus 19.5. I did a 4-team teaser with them involved in it, brought it down 7 points with a couple other teams for my first bet of the year. I'll put it on the Twitter.
Yeah. So Navy Notre
Uh,
Dame kicks it off at 1:30, and they're playing over in Ireland, in Dublin, Ireland. Then you got the UTEP Miners taking on what's our guy's name?
Talking about Jacksonville.
Rich Rodriguez
Rich Rod
and,
at
and
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville State.
Okay, I like the over there. I think it's 52. Both those teams can score. Rich Rod's going to move the ball. I think it's +1. Jacksonville State, they may win that game outright.
Yeah.
Notre Dame, Navy in Dublin, they played twice. Notre Dame's beat the hell out of them both times.
Okay.
So go look at that. Just do your own research on that. I don't like them over 3 touchdowns. If you can get them under 3, I really liked them at 19.5. I teased them down because, I don't know, sometimes I'm wrong. What's the next game?
Yeah, 6 o'clock. You got UMass against New Mexico State. I don't have a lot there.
UMass brings their coach back that had them half-ass relevant at one time. It don't mean nothing, no.
Then you got Ohio and San Diego State.
Ohio +3. I think they beat San Diego State
The Bobcats.
straight up. I think they win it straight up. San Diego State fell apart last year. And they may be the team I'm thinking of that brought the wide receiver in. One of those teams.
San Diego State?
Yeah.
That may have been.
Yeah, the Snapdragon Stadium. I loved it last year. It was so cool. And they went out there and they absolutely hemorrhaged me money. So I see 2.5 here. I like Ohio Bobcats straight up there.
Then you got at 6:30, the Hawaii visits Vanderbilt. I love Vanderbilt here.
I do too. That's part of my teasers. Is I got the UTEP Jacksonville State total teased down 7, Navy teased down 7, Vanderbilt teased down 7. I think it got me at 9.5 there.
And then the Trojans get it kicked off that same this same Saturday. They host San Jose State, and the Trojans are a 31-point favorite. I don't want none of that.
Whatever.
And then the late game, you got Florida International visiting Louisiana Tech. I think who was the former head coach at Florida?
No, it was
and at Colorado State, maybe.
No, Mike McIntyre and the Florida International.
Oh, Mike McIntyre. Never mind. Yeah, Mike McIntyre at Florida International takes on Louisiana Tech, and FIU is an 11-point dog. I don't hate getting the points there.
Well, I teased. That's my fourth leg of my teaser, 7-point teaser. So I got LaTeX -4 there. So
okay,
7-point 4-team teaser with LaTeX, Notre Dame, Jacksonville State, UTEP over, teased down 7 points, and then the Vanderbilt -9.5.
Fun fact, Paul.
Yes, sir.
FIU beat La Tech last year, 42-34 in overtime.
Well, that's last year.
just letting you know.
They're playing in Rust, and nobody goes to Joe Alette Stadium and beats the last.
You just don't come in there and get it done, do you? Okay.
No. It's gonna be good.
Boy, these are great teams. Both of them went 1-4 in their last 5 going into this year, so it ought to be just a rip-roaring contest there in Ruston.
I didn't say you had to watch it. Put money on it.
All right, so that's all your games for week 0. You kind of see where we're leaning and what we like there. Paul's giving you his teaser that he likes coming up, so we'll try to put it out on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Put the plays out there. I'll be at the Beau Rivage in Biloxi, Mississippi on week 0 with my lovely wife, Lauren, down there, having ourselves a big time. And I'll be back Sunday afternoon, and then week 1 will be upon us, Paul, and we'll be back on the mics next week, I guess.
Yeah, if I might single bet Vanderbilt -17 and Ohio +3.
I love the Vanderbilt. I love that game.
So that too.
All right, so I guess that's going to wrap it up for us here. This is, again, this has been Cash and Tickets brought to you by Poolside Bets. I'm Franklin, that's Paul, and we will see you next week when week 1 will be upon us. Good luck this weekend.